Yeah, Brian Dozier having a career year to be sure. I think Robinson Cano's probably enjoying his season better because the team is winning, might be going to the playoffs. Twins with an opportunity to knock the Mariners essentially out of the wild card race. When they faced the Mariners earlier this year in Seattle at the end of May, they knocked the Mariners out of first place in the American League West, and now they can, I guess in one sense, finish what they started if they can have a good series here this weekend.
Yeah, right now it's Toronto and Detroit that kind of have the advantage for the wild card, but there's Baltimore, Houston, and then the Seattle Mariners only 2 games out. So yeah, these 3 games for Seattle, very, very important, as they were for the Tigers, who just left here and they ended up sweeping the Twins.
Mariners don't have to worry so much about the Astros because they've got a series left with them. They've got to win that series, and then they can get past the Astros. But of course, in his first year, Scott Service has seen his team weather some injuries and some other unfortunate circumstances that beset every team. Here's the Menards batting order for the Mariners. Norichiki Aoki, the leadoff batter. Then Seth Smith, Robinson Cano, Nelson Cruz, Kyle Seager, Adam Lind, Leonis Martin, Mike Zunino, and Ketel Marte.
And it'll be 28-year-old Kyle Gibson on the mound. For Kyle, he's making his 24th start, his first against Seattle this year, his 6th career start. He's had some very good starts against the Mariners, and hopefully that's a positive thought for Kyle here this evening.
Twins coming off a couple of 3-game sweeps, one in New York to the Mets, and then the one here to the Tigers. Gibson hoping to pick up win number 7.
You know, over at second base, they're having certain fans come out. It's fan appreciation, and Brian Dozier right there just shook hands with Don Cassidy. Remember Don Cassidy with the Twins?
Yes.
24 years he was under Calvin Griffith, and that's his little grandson right there. Of course, Don Cassidy passed away, but his little 10-year-old grandson. Brody had the opportunity to shake Brian Dozier's hand. That is his biggest baseball fan.
Northland Ford defense for the Twins. Robbie Grossman, Byron Buxton, and Logan Schaefer across the outfield. Escobar at third, Polanco at short, Dozier at second, Vargas at first, and Kurt Suzuki behind the plate. Toby Basner will call balls and strikes for us here tonight. Trip Gibson, Jerry Lane, Hunter Wendelstedt on the bases. As you look at the umpiring crew, we have just about completed, incredibly, the 14th rain delay or postponement on the Target Field schedule this year. The Twins also had 4 of them on the road. So go ahead, do the math. 14 and 4
is 18.
18 rain delays or postponements this year, and we hope that this is the last one.
Well, one thing, Dick, about Kyle Gibson, I think we've talked about it throughout the summer. Which Kyle Gibson's going to show up? Is it the good one or the inconsistent one? And, you know, big thing for Kyle Gibson, get through that first inning. His ERA in the first inning, 8.22 ERA. 21 runs he's allowed in the first 23 starts. So get off to a good start, Kyle Gibson. Try to put a 0 on the board.
It's been in an otherwise disappointing season, it's been a pretty successful formula for the Twins. If they can score first, whether it's the 3rd, 4th, or 5th innings, then their record is decent. And we'll see if a critical part of that model, pitching some scoreless innings early, will be the case for Gibson here tonight. Nori Aoki leading off, and he takes strike 1.
Well, one thing about Seattle, these are the table setters, Aoki and also Smith. These are the guys you want to keep off the bases, because then you have Cano, you have Cruz, you have Sager.
Left center field, and hanging up for Grossman, and now comes in again tonight. What wind we have seems to be blowing in from left field. Grossman cut straight across and came in to make the catch. A little bit of a breeze blowing in from left field, nothing like what we had in the doubleheader yesterday or the game 3 nights ago. One down quickly, and now Seth Smith. This is a Mariner team that has been known for its defense and pitching, but they've got I think for many fans, a surprisingly good lineup in terms of run production. Outside ball one.
Yeah, 7th in the American League as far as batting average, 258. They have scored over 700 runs, 714 runs. They've hit home runs, 207. Twins have hit 190.
Fouled back, and it's 1-1. In terms of runs scored, the Twins are 9th overall. They were at one point 5th before the September struggles. And the Mariners currently are 5th in the American League in runs scored. 1-1 to Smith on the inside corner. They've done it with power. There's a little speed in the lineup. See, the American League average is 692 runs in Seattle, behind 4 teams that are very likely going to the playoffs.
And did you see Boston?
Yeah.
The amount of runs that they
just on
have scored?
another level.
They really are.
2-2 to Smith.
Yeah, Smith, 33 years old, in his 2nd season with the Mariners. He's played for the Rockies, the Oakland A's, and the San Diego Padres.
Just missed the corner. Now it's a full count.
We'll say it again. At least I do. When Kyle is on, when Gibson is on, he'll get ground ball outs, and he'll get, you know, that little sinker slider. That's his repertoire. He has thrown a curveball that he added to his stuff, but very good changeup.
Tapped right side, and an easy play for Vargas. 2 down. And that'll bring up Robinson Cano.
And there's the first ground ball out.
Cano to the plate, and his season can still include a 300 batting average, 100 runs batted in. He's already hit 33 home runs.
I mentioned in our open the 33 home runs. That ties a career high. He had 33 home runs with the Yankees when he was their 2nd baseman. Cano in his 3rd season with the Mariners, his 12th major league season. Just an all-around very, very good player. And a guy that plays every day. He hardly misses a ball game. Since 2007, over the last 9 seasons, he's missed a total of 32 games. So he stayed pretty much injury-free.
Inside, 1-1. Really good numbers here at Target Field.
Against Kyle Gibson, he has the most at-bats against, I guess, than any Mariner. He has 17 at-bats against Kyle. He has 4 hits. So Kyle's done a pretty good job against him.
Gibson's worked him hard inside a couple of times in this at bat. Tapper right side. 3rd hop goes to Dozier, and a clean 1-2-3 first inning for Kyle Gibson. but we expect we'll have uninterrupted baseball. And Paul Molitor hoping that in the week and a half that's left, his team can play much better baseball than they have in September. The Menards batting order for the Twins has Brian Dozier in the leadoff spot, Jorge Polanco batting second, Robbie Grossman, then Miguel Sano as the designated hitter, Kenny Vargas, Kurt Suzuki, Eduardo Escobar, Logan Schaefer in for Max Kepler, and then Byron Buxton.
And it'll be a Paxton, on the mound, making his 19th start. Started the season in the minor leagues, called up first part of June.
James Paxton, 4 wins, 7 losses, an ERA touch under 4. Had 5 perfect innings in his last start against the Astros. Brian Dozier takes inside ball 1. Cold Hard Facts brought to you by the Silver Bullet. Clean, crisp, Coors Light. Antonio Oliva with 84 extra base hits in his Rookie of the Year season. And Brian Dozier right on his heels. Popped up. And drifting across the line is Lind. And takes a tumble but makes the catch. Lind hung with it, ended up getting down on his backside, but he made the catch.
Well, that wind is good, given already a little bit of problem, but right there, Lind has it, then back pedals, and then falls down. Sometimes this game will bring you to your bottom end, and it did.
I see that, and the first thing I think about is what an incredible job the grounds crew did, because we had a very hard rain here, and the warning track wasn't covered, and you could see Lind had to slam on the brakes and backpedal. And I mean, his spikes did what they were supposed to do only because the warning track wasn't all slimy and slippery. 1 down. Here is Polanco. Swing and a miss. 0-2.
Yeah, scouting report on Paxton. Now he's just making his 2nd career start against the Twins. They altered his delivery a little bit down in AAA. Used to be straight over the top. They have him a little bit more kind of 3/4. Very good curveball, straight over the top type fastball like that. Well, there's the breaking ball right there. Mixes in a changeup.
1-2. And he pops it foul over the Twins dugout. We talked about Cano and how Cano still has a chance to hit for a 300 batting average. So too does Polanco at 288. Of course, he has about half the amount of at bats that Cano does. But if he finishes strong in the season, Polanco could finish his rookie season hitting 300. Right off the end of the bat, and Paxton fields and flips 2 down. Northland Ford defense for the Seattle Mariners. Nori Aoki in left field. And Leonis Martin in center. Seth Smith at right. Kyle Seager, one of the better third basemen in the game. He is at third. Marte and Cano up the middle. Adam Lind at first, and Mike Zunino behind the plate. 2 down. And now Robbie Grossman, who's been wearing out left-handed pitching all year long, takes a strike over the inside corner. Grossman, a switch hitter, and from the right side he's hitting .373, has an on-base percentage of .448. 1-1. Joe Mauer's thigh injuries still slowing him down and affecting his hitting mechanics. Twins will face a couple of lefties here to start this series. Here's a fly to short center, and Martin comes in. And so Mauer not in the lineup tonight, might not be in tomorrow, and both starting pitchers enjoy a 1-2-3 first inning.
Last night, after the in the eighth inning, Max Kepler left the game after chasing this fly ball down the right field line in the 7th inning. Didn't leave the game immediately, but had a pretty sore neck afterwards. And in our Sanford Health injury report tonight, it's just a little bit of a strain for Kepler. And he said that he was really nervous when he woke up this morning about what it would feel like. He thought he'd feel a lot worse, but he said he went really cautiously, got things loosened up, and found that his neck doesn't feel nearly as bad as he was anticipating. He took some batting practice when he got to the field this afternoon. Says he actually feels pretty good. So Dick and Bert, Kepler is available off the bench tonight, though not in the starting lineup. But that's pretty good news for a guy who's been having a heck of a rookie season to be able to finish out his rookie season and not miss significant time because of the neck injury.
Well, thank you, Marnie, and it's really good news for a manager who's carrying so many injured players on a late September roster. Paul Molitor allowed for the possibility that if Kepler had injured himself more severely than it appears, that they may have to go through the Rolodex and call somebody else up here for the last week and a half simply because they don't have enough healthy players. 2-1 to Nelson Cruz. Kyle Seager, Adam Lind will follow the middle of the Seattle lineup. Way out in front of Gibson's changeup. You look at the middle of the Seattle lineup. Well, let's go back to Smith. 16 home runs. Cano 33. Cruz 37. Seager 29. Lind 20. Martin 15. This is a Seattle team that if you can project them into the playoffs, they could do some damage.
That's why I said the first two hitters in that lineup, even though Smith has 16 home runs, they're kind of set table setters.
Right.
Cano and Cruz and Seager, who's on deck.
Full count to Cruz. Time called at the plate.
Adam Lind has 20 home runs. They have some pop.
Bounce left side. Scooped by Escobar. And an on-target throw to Vargas. Gibson's had a couple of full counts, but he's gotten ground ball outs 3 times in a row now, and that'll bring up Seager.
And again, that's good to see early on. Kyle Gibson, fastball, sinker, slider type pitcher, get some ground ball outs.
Kyle Seager at the plate. And Seager.
Good pitch.
Takes ball 1.
Yeah, Seager in his 6th season with Seattle Mariners, an all-star for them back in 2014. Also the year he won his Gold Glove at third base. I was watching the left-handers against Kyle because there are full of left-handers because the left-handers are hitting .335 off of them. And he's done a good job so far. 3 of the 4 hitters for the Mariners, and now including Seager, 4 of the 5 are left-handed hitters.
And to the backstop, another 3-ball count. Now, last year, Gibson allowed a .248 opponent batting average to left-handers, and incredibly, left-handers are hitting nearly 100 points higher this year. Why on earth would that be?
Well, lack of controls. I'd have to say outer half of the plate, falling behind like he is right here. You have to come in with a fastball. But opponents overall are hitting .298.
Right.
That's very high. Right-handers .266.
You know, it's sometimes said of a unestablished pitcher, well, he doesn't have a pitch to get a left-handed hitter out. And you'd be tempted to say that about Gibson, but he did a really good job of that earlier in his career.
That's why he needs that sinker down and away, the two-seamer to left-handers, down and away.
Another full count. This time to Seager. Tapper up on the first base line. Vargas to the bag. Weak contact. 2 down.
Well, we've seen 4 ground ball outs. The last 4 outs on ground ball outs because Kyle so far is keeping the ball down in the strike zone. Take a look. Seager right here. Good hitter. 3-2. He's looking fastball. It is a fastball, but it has that little bit of tail on it, the little two-seamer, and that creates that ground ball out.
And now Adam Lind, another left-handed batter. And a first pitch strike.
Lind, a veteran, most of his career with the Blue Jays, last year with the Milwaukee Brewers.
That's to center, and that'll die in front of Buxton for a 2-out single.
He just fought off a pitch up in the strike zone. Lind's average over his career, you know, about 275, somewhere in there. Came into this at bat hitting 234, but very steady player. You see the fastball didn't have much move on it, and Lind, even though it was in a little bit, just fought it off and hit it into center field.
Seem to see that a lot, don't you? If you miss up, even when the batter doesn't get the barrel of the bat on it, they end up getting a hit because the ball's already elevated. And he didn't hit that ball hard at all, but he found some grass in center field. Leonis Martin takes ball one rather.
Like Lind, Martin in his first season with the Mariners, last 5 years with the Texas Rangers.
Missing inside 2-0.
See, and these are little things that Kyle needs to be a little more aggressive on the outer half of that plate. Trust that two-seamer like he has so far in the ballgame. He left that pitch up to Lind. He's fallen behind here on Martin. See where Suzuki's set up.
Now it's 3-0 with Zunino on deck.
Kyle has a great frame to create that downward plane at 6'6".
Another full count, third one this inning. I beg your pardon, the count 3-1. Now at 3-1, Polanco swings over to the right side of the infield. Now it's 3-2.
And again, another good pitch down.
The runner at first, Lind, will take off. Vargas will still hold him, even with a left-handed batter up. Lind goes. And off the glove of Gibson, deflecting to Dozier. To Vargas. Score at 1-4-3, and the inning ends.
Well, I was really impressed because, I mean, at first I hear people like the way he was talking about him, how good he is and how he can, how that kind of power he have, and then get to meet him and see him in practice. That was really impressive. I mean, he can hit the line drive, opposite field. I was like, wow.
It was my pleasure this afternoon to have a dual interview with Robinson Cano and Miguel Sano, who leads off the Twins second, both from the town of San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic, a city, I'll call it, of about 200,000 people. One strike to Sano. We'll have more of the interview on our pregame show Sunday before the last home game of the year.
I hope Miguel was listening to what Cano said right there about using the whole field, about going the other way. And on 3 pitches, he's Paxton's first strikeout.
That'll bring up Kenny Vargas.
Well, fastball to get strike 1, then the breaking ball that Sano swung through, and Paxton going inside for strike 3. Paxton, a strikeout pitcher, 101 strikeouts now and 110 in a third innings pitched.
One down. Here's Kenny Vargas. Talk about Robbie Grossman's success as a right-handed batter. How about Vargas hitting .452, not just 31 at bats, but 14 hits, and half of them for extra bases, including 4 home runs. Down low, and it's 1-1. Paxton at 96 miles per hour. So you'd have to call him a hard throwing lefty. And he throws a changeup and gets a swing and a miss.
Yeah, that's that curveball right there. He's got a tight curveball. Call it a knuckle curve.
1-2.
Also got a circle changeup.
And another strikeout. 2 down.
Well, back-to-back strikeouts for Paxton. Struck out Sano on a fastball. And here Vargas swings through that curveball. Good tight rotation.
Kurt Suzuki will bat. Hoping to reverse what has become a late inning slump. Average was in the 280s not that long ago, now down to the 260s, the very low 260s. And he takes outside, ball 1. Paxton with reverse splits. Left-handers have done much better against him than right-handed batters. Sliced foul, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, the only other time the Twins saw Paxton pitch against them, that was in Seattle of last year in April 25th. He worked 4 2/3 innings, gave up 4 runs, but only 1 earned run. And the Twins ended up winning that ball game 8-5.
Foul tip.
He's a guy that's always kind of been hurt. Ended up coming up in June, and then in early August he got hit by a line drive off the bat of Simmons with the Angels that put him on a disabled list for a couple of weeks.
Right off the end of the bat, spinning its way to Lind, and out number 2. Out number 3, I should say. Pair of 1, 2, 3 innings for James Paxton. Baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. And by Bank of America. Life's better when we're connected. Another low-scoring game early on here to the third inning, and Mike Zunino will lead things off for Seattle. On the outside corner, a strike. Gibson making a start tonight. He'll make one more start on the road trip. Molitor said today Jose Barrios will make a couple of starts. One Tuesday, he'll pitch the season finale. And the rest of the way is going to be a little bit fluid. Paul Molitor said he wanted to talk to Irvin Santana to see if Santana wanted one more start this year, or whether with the innings pitched and whatever, just might want to skip it. The Twins would patch a hole. The final week of the season will be spent against teams that will not be contending for playoff spots, so there's a luxury of doing that. 2-1. And another 3-ball count.
I'm sure I'm not going to speak for Irvin Santana. I'm sure he wants to go out there one more time. I mean, why not? You know,
No.
Got all winter to rest.
And another full count.
Zunino up and down this year in his 4th season with the Mariners. He was Seattle's #1 pick back in 2012 out of University of Florida, Gainesville, Florida.
Popped up. Dozier out in short center field, waiting for a call off. He'll take it. One away. That'll bring up Marte. Kids Appreciation Day is coming up on Sunday. The first 10,000 kids 14 and under get a TC cap courtesy of our family brand. You can visit twinsbaseball.com and get tickets for Sunday afternoon's game. And the Twins will leave Monday night for Kansas City and Chicago. And then the snow's going to fly. The ice is going to cover the lakes.
Wait, slow down.
Spent almost
You're going to
all.
have us in spring training in no time.
Exactly. That's the whole point. We'll get through the snow and ice and cold season.
There's no we here, okay? There's
You're
no
not
we.
wintering here in Minnesota this year?
No. No.
Dozier flips 2 down. You used to.
Yeah.
I remember the day when you, in your broadcasting career, wintered here in Minnesota.
Yes, I did. When Gail and I first got married, and then we did not see the sun the whole month of November.
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
That's not
Oh,
true.
that was true.
You can see the sun. It won't warm you, but you can see the sun.
We did not see it. It was gray the whole month of November 1997. Well, look at the Farmer's Almanac. That will tell you. It was depressing.
Well, now your audience, people listening to you, you don't have the luxury of going down to Florida all winter. We live here.
A lot of them do.
1 strike.
Oh, it's a beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
November.
Let's talk about Florida.
Oh, in Florida. Well, there are those of us who grew up here who enjoy the seasons, enjoy the thrill of.
I can only speak for me.
Right. You grew up in California.
Yeah. Sunshine.
2-1.
And now I live in the Sunshine State, Florida. And you come down. You're coming down for the Hobbs tournament. You're coming down for the fantasy camp, spring training.
I don't think I could. I don't think I'll ever live down there in the wintertime. I enjoy the theater of the seasons.
Yeah, you do.
You know, the smell of gasoline as you're filling up your snowblower on a cold January morning. You know, you don't have that in Florida.
No, we do not.
3-1. Gibson, if he can survive another 3-ball count and get it to 3-2, it would be what, the 6th full count he's had in the first 10 plate appearances. And that's a base hit on a 3-1 pitch, and Aoki is aboard.
We always talk about getting ahead, and if you fall behind, get ball 1, get back to the strike. And Kyle, even though he's only given up now 2 hits, This comes with 2 outs, and it's almost the same pitch that Lind hit into center field. The pitch up. So Kyle getting some ground ball outs because he's keeping the ball down nicely. He's left a couple up.
And now the power in the Seattle lineup begins to emerge with Seth Smith, 16 home runs on the year. Hit a chopper to Vargas his first time up. I guess because he's not pitched to more than 4 batters in an inning, but you look at the pitch count, 45, given all the 3 ball counts he's had, that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, one good pitch right here, maybe a ground ball, get him out of this inning. Aoki at first base, 7 stolen bases, but he's been caught 9 times. Seattle doesn't run much as a ball club. They are a home run hitting team. 51 stolen bases. They've been caught 28 times.
Well, at Safeco Field, they brought the fences in to try to have more power in their lineup. Early on in this ballpark, they were talking about what they could do to bring in the fences. I'm saying the hitters did that. The pitchers didn't. And management, I don't think, was too concerned about it. 1-0. And a strike on the outside corner. But I think the way that we have seen the ball carry recently here, there won't be any drive to do anything to the dimensions of this ballpark. We got a second baseman who's got 42 home runs.
Right.
We got a third baseman DH type, Miguel Sano, who his friend Robinson Cano says someday is going to hit 50 in a season. That's all part of the interview that we'll have for you on Sunday afternoon.
This is where sometimes Kyle lets the game get away from him as far as the tempo of the ball game. He's got 2 outs right here. Concentrate on Smith. He's very quick home. Utilizes that slide step. Now he falls behind.
And they hit the inside corner but missed 2-1.
Sinker slider pitcher, sometimes you forget about that. Now he's trying to throw the fastball, 4-seamer. Ball that caught the corner was not called.
Bounce foul, 2-2.
Good changeup right there in a fastball count. Kyle making his 97th career start. He has 32 wins, 37 losses. One thing Kyle has done, he's pitched well against the Western Division. In 22 starts, he's got 8 wins, only 4 losses. Good ERA at 3.63.
Squirted over the third base bag, but foul. Still 2-2. Honestly, you look at this ballpark, look at the warning track. You never would have imagined that the field took as much rain as it did 2 nights ago, and pretty heavy downpour again late this afternoon here.
Well, again, we tip our hat to the ground crew.
They've not had an easy home schedule this year, that's for sure.
Larry DeVito and his crew, they do a great job.
Another 2-2 pitch to Seth Smith. And he came up and in, and Smith fouled it right off the handle of the bat.
Twelve pitches to get 3 outs in the first inning, 20 in the second, and now this will be his 20th pitch here in the third inning.
A lot of 3-ball counts. And another one now in the Smith plate appearance.
7.
7 out of 11. And a changeup that just died away from the outside corner.
Now what you can do with 3-2, you have Aoki, who has very good speed. He'll be taken off as soon as Gibson delivers home.
Line foul.
Kyle himself has said he knows he's not a strikeout pitcher. He wants to get quick outs. He was able to do that in the first inning, but the last couple, no. And what that means, that 53 right there on your screen, that means if he might go 5, maybe into the 6th inning, and that puts more wear and tear on the bullpen. There's a walk.
The first walk. A 2-out single, now a 2-out walk, and Cano will come up with 2 men aboard. And our Carsoup.com trivia question: who holds the American League record for RBI in a season by a second baseman? Just the current crop. There's some great ones: Altuve, Pedroia, Dozier, Cano,
Kinsler.
Back in the lineup tonight, by the way. We're happy to see that. He didn't play in the Detroit series here because of concussion symptoms.
Yeah, Detroit has a 7-1 lead over the Royals.
That's to right field, carrying out towards Schaefer, and he's got to play it on a hop, and Aoki is going to score. A little doink down the right field line, and Schaefer played it on a hop, and the Mariners lead 1-0.
Well, there again, that's where the walk, pitch up to Aoki, the walk to Smith sets up the guys in the middle. I said keep those table setters off the bases, and here he gets jammed. It's not hit very solidly, but it lands in front of Schaefer, and with 2 outs, Aoki scores and Smith scoots over to third.
Everything we said about Lynn's base hit. The ball's already elevated, so a poorly hit ball can land safely for a hit, and it's given the Mariners a 1-0 lead in the always dangerous Nelson Cruz. On the outside corner, Cruz hit a hard 2-hopper to Escobar for the first out of the 2nd inning. Got a chance to make it 43 years in a row for a couple of different teams.
Well, he has that open stance, and believe me, he swings hard when he does swing that bat. He does not get cheated.
1-1.
.278 career home runs for Nelson Cruz.
Remember when Gibson's pitch count was 45, and we thought, well, all right, get the next pitch and you're able to average about 15 pitches per inning. But now pitch number 58, and he's still on the mound in the 3rd. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Pair of 2-out singles and a walk. The Mariners have the lead, 1-2 to Cruz. Nice stop by Suzuki, 2-2.
And these are the innings that we have seen get away from Kyle Gibson. Work out of this. Try to get Cruz out right here. Only give up 1 run. He's given up way too many multi-run innings.
Another run producer hitting behind Cruz, Kyle Seager. Deep to center. Buxton going back. At the wall. Leaping. He caught it. Byron Buxton took a home run away from Nelson Cruz. It's 1-0. It looked like it was going to be 4-0. some home runs, 8 to be exact this year. He just looked like he took one away from Nelson Cruz.
Well, you know what? He went back. He timed his leap perfectly, almost like he knew he was going to be against that wall. What a great leap and a great catch, keeping this game at a 1-0. Wow.
Escobar fouls the first pitch over the Twins dugout. So the Twins still very much in the game. As much as the team has struggled scoring runs, there's a huge difference between 1-0 and 4-0. And Escobar taps one left side. Dug out by Marte. And Escobar retired. One away. Fox Sports North is proud to partner with Girls on the Run Twin Cities to empower girls to be healthy and confident. Join us for the Girls on the Run Fall 5K presented by Alaris Mortgage, Saturday, November 12th at Harriet Island Pavilion in St. Paul. To register, visit foxsportsnorth.com and click on upcoming events. Now that would be a nice event. If you were here, you probably would run the 5K on November 12th.
How about yourself?
Well, as you said, I'm going to be playing in the Roy Hobbs World Series. I'll be down in Florida already. Otherwise, I would. Logan Schaefer with 1 strike.
Got it all mapped out, don't you?
Well, you don't think I can run 5K?
I have no idea.
You know how far that is?
5K is, let's see, I believe that is 3.1 miles.
Yes. Someone told you in the headset, didn't
they? No. I used to run 10Ks, which was 6.2 miles. So I figured half of that.
You did the math in your head?
Yeah, all by myself.
1-2 to Schaefer. And strike 3. That'll roll away from Zunino. And a strikeout. Third strikeout for Paxton, and that'll bring up Byron Buxton.
You know, you come to the ballpark, you don't know what you're going to see in a professional baseball game. Sometimes you're going to see home runs, sometimes you're going to see great catches, and a lot of those people saw great catches. What did Nelson Cruz think about that? And Kyle Gibson says yes, thank you very much.
And strike 1. Buxton with a long home run yesterday over the high wall in right center field over the 403 mark. Up and in, and it's 1-1. Check swing. Don't have a base runner yet against James Paxton.
Paxton's kind of doing what he did in his last start you mentioned, Dick, against the Houston Astros. Had 5 perfect innings.
Nice stop at first by Adam Lind, and Buxton will beat it out. We've seen Buxton in this homestand a couple of times hit the ball hard on the ground to the right side, which of course is a tremendous sign. That time Lind speared it, but Buxton beat the left-handed pitcher to the first base bag.
Well, you know, Paxton getting over there to the quick as he can, getting the feed, but you can see Buxton and his speed. Nice feed, but Buxton getting that foot on the bag before Paxton could.
People who measure these things have declared Buxton the fastest runner in the major leagues, whether it's home to first, home to second, home to third. And I think the Mariners are believers now. Here's Dozier. Outside, ball 1. Dozier with a foul out, his first time up. Swing and a foul, 1-1. Toyota key stat tonight, most home runs by a second baseman. Of course, Davey Johnson hit all of his as a second baseman because there was not, nor is there still, a designated hitter in the National League.
As Roger Hornsby did. And also Ryan Sandberg.
Dozier with 40 of his 42 as a second baseman, a new American League record. 1-1.
There have been 3 stolen bases with Paxton on the mound in 4 attempts. Buxton got thrown out yesterday. He's 9 for 11.
And a strike, 1-2.
Paxton looks like he's pretty quick home too. Left-handers have the advantage.
Dozier 1 home run short of the major league leader Mark Trumbo, who a year ago was a member of the Seattle Mariners. Yeah, foul. Trumbo was traded to Baltimore for catcher Steve Clevenger, who got his name in the newspaper today for some offensive tweets that the Mariners distanced themselves from, to the point where they have suspended him without pay for the rest of the year. And you know, already, even without the tweeting that got Clevenger in trouble, it's going to go down as one of the worst trades in Seattle history. Mark Trumbo may end up leading the majors in home runs.
Well, good for the Mariners for stepping up and suspending him too.
This one pulled down the line, foul. Trumbo goes to Baltimore, and he didn't have a tremendous career with Seattle by any means, but my goodness, he started hitting home runs right away and hasn't stopped. One and two to Dozier. The Mariners strung together a couple of singles and a walk after the second out in the top of this inning to take the 1-0 lead. Inside, now 2-2.
Yeah, Brian yesterday took an over, ended his 24-game hitting streak. Would like to start another one, new one here right now.
Swing and a miss. Breaking ball. Dozier strikes out, leaving Buxton at first.
Back on this Friday. Some memorable moments that we're celebrating anniversaries of this week. On September 20th, 1981, Gary Gaetti homered in his first big league at bat facing Charlie Huff. And then 9 years and 3 days after that, Gaetti faced Huff again. This time it was a grand slam, and it was career home run number 200 for Gaetti. That was 26 years ago today. And on September 22nd, 1977, Bert Blyleven, as a member of the Texas Rangers, threw a no-hitter against the California Angels. That was Bert's final start of his first year with the Rangers, and it happened 39 years ago yesterday.
And I look the same. That's unbelievable.
That was, what, 30 years ago, and how many pounds?
39 years
39,
ago.
How many pounds ago? At least
about
I've been
50, you know, what the heck?
Yeah.
Hey, it is what it is, you know. You know what about that night I'll remember? First of all, my mom and dad were there.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Yeah, that was very, very nice. It was against the Angels in Anaheim where I grew up, and you know, everything just went my way. They hit the ball hard, but right at my defensive players. It was nice. It was very nice to do it in front of mom and dad.
1-1 now to the leadoff man in the 4th inning for Seattle, Kyle Seager. Doing 1. 63 pitches, 54 strikes, 54% the strike percentage.
Yeah, that's not good. 28 pitches last inning.
And another 3-ball count. And a walk. Gibson with 2 outs walked Smith. That led to the Mariner run. Now a leadoff walk in the 4th inning. Make your way to Target Field to celebrate Brian Dozier's historic home run chase. You can secure your seat in Dozier's favorite home run targets throughout this special ticket offer for a chance to catch history. For more information, visit twinsbaseball.com/DozierGoesDeep. Adam Lind, the batter, muscled a soft line drive into center field for the first Seattle hit. There's strike 1. Looking at the wild card race, the Mariners still in it, 2 games back, 4 teams ahead of them. But again, they don't have to worry about Houston because they can control getting by Houston by beating them in a series. They've got a series with them coming up next week. The Orioles are ahead of them, and the Orioles are leading, or trailing rather, Arizona 2-0 in the 8th inning at Camden Yards after being swept by the Red Sox. The Tigers are leading the Royals 8-1 at Comerica Park, and the Blue Jays are shutting out the Yankees 7-0 at the Rogers Center. Swing and a miss, and on 3 pitches Lind is gone.
Gibson picking up his first strikeout. Good slider down and in. Lind swinging through it. So ahead in the count, you make that hitter be a little more aggressive. Lind swinging through it.
Martin, the batter, he hit a 1-hopper back to Gibson, deflecting off his glove and deflecting right to Brian Dozier, who cleaned up the ground ball and got the final out of the 2nd inning. This one chopped toward Vargas. Dangerous play, and Vargas will get there just ahead of Martin. Vargas, I think, acknowledging Martin's speed, rushed in to the extent Kenny can rush in and scoop that ball.
Well, you know, he's right there. He's even with the bag. He goes in, gets the scoop with that big glove, and then beats Marte to the bag. I think he thought at one time maybe he could try to get Seager at second base, but instead gets the out at first as Seager moves into scoring position.
And now Zunino. Isn't that what they called our good friends at Rawlings, the first baseman's mitt, the big scoop? Don't I remember that? I believe so. The first baseman's glove was called the big scoop.
That's a big glove, and he scooped it.
Aptly named. Go back to the 2012 draft. Carlos Correa had his rookie season last year. In fact, he won the Rookie of the Year award. This is Byron Buxton's rookie season, and the Mariners picking 3rd. Picked a guy they thought would anchor their catching duties for a decade or so, and he still might. Mike Zunino. That's to short center. Buxton streaking in, a diving attempt, and he can't make the play. And now the Mariners have gotten another run on a little short fly ball with 2 outs.
Yeah, Zunino was 0 for 9 against Gibson coming into that at bat, but he fought off a high fastball. Buxton, great effort, tried to catch this ball. See Seager take it off with 2 outs. Just comes up maybe a glove short. It hits off his glove.
Oh, he had it in the glove. Yep. And then it hit the ground. The ball did, bounced out of the glove before Byron could close it. Here's Ketel Marte. It's hit well to right field, but Schaefer is right there to end the inning. Another 2-out hit for the Mariners, another run, and it's 2-0. Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. What's yours? Always seems to happen this way. The contending teams get the clutch hits. The Mariners with a couple of 2-out bloop singles to score a couple of runs, and now Jorge Polanco will lead off the 4th.
Yeah, that leadoff walk to Seager too. That they always seem to somehow find a way to cross the plate.
But again, I mean, you had it happen to you so many times. When you leave a pitch up where Gibson's left some of those fastballs, you've done half the work for the hitter. He doesn't have to hit it hard to end up with, in this case, a couple of RBI base hits. There's a high fly to left, and Aoki still on the grass, waits and makes the catch, 1 away. I'll bring up Grossman. Twins fans, if you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with the all-new Fox Sports Go app. Download the app, take Fox Sports North and Twins baseball with you wherever you go. We're running out of time. I hate to say this, 8 games left after tonight's game. 2 at home, 6 on the road. Here's Grossman. Strike 1. Big news here in the Twin Cities today, late this afternoon. Kevin Garnett announcing his retirement as a player from the NBA after 21 seasons.
Congratulations to him on his great career.
Played right over there at target center. 2 strikes to Grossman. And now a ball.
Paxton going about his business, pounding that strike zone. 44 pitches, 32 strikes.
Just missed. 97 miles per hour, and he nearly zipped it across the inside corner.
Fox Track says it's a bit inside.
Fox Track's presented by Ram. And Grossman strikes out. Out number 2.
Paxton with his 5th strikeout.
The Twins swept the Mariners in Seattle in late May, and Miguel Sano had one of those series that we hope we'll see a lot more of in coming years.
Yeah, Joe Mauer taking the ball into the bullpen area.
Sano did it too. We're showing Mauer had his best series of the year, but Sano with a home run in each game. 1 strike to Sano. He struck out looking his first time up. Chop left side.
That's trouble.
And it'll be an infield hit for Sano. So Buxton and Sano each have infield hits. The only safeties against James Paxton.
Yeah, the only chance maybe for Paxton to jump off the mound and get that ball, because the infielders were playing a deep, short and third. You see where Marte is playing right there. He tried to barehand it.
When I had a chance to talk with Sano and Cano earlier today, I imagined a scenario, understanding that they're best of friends. Vargas checks his swing, ball 1. Of Sano at first, and Cano trying to turn a double play. Now it won't happen here in the 4th inning with 2 outs. But Sano said he'd be able to hear the big man coming for him at second base. And Vargas takes a strike, 1-1. From Rico Carty through Sammy Sosa, now Robinson Cano and Miguel Sano, and Pedro de Marquez, down about half the size of Minneapolis, grounded toward the hole, cut off by Marte, and they get Sano at second base. And Cano heard Sano coming as advertised.
And 2-0. We're back at Target Field, and we're in the Minnesota Lottery Winners Circle. We have $100 worth of scratch-off tickets for sisters who are here tonight. This is Julie and Janelle from Grand Forks and Fergus Falls, who are Gemini twins, celebrating their 60th birthdays. And Gemini twins means what?
That we were born in May or June.
Oh, that's what Gemini twins means?
Yeah.
Because that's your symbol.
It's our astrological symbol.
It's your horoscope. And because you are born within a 365-day span, too. You are both 60 years old for a total of, what, 2 weeks?
About 2 weeks, yes.
Okay, so you're May?
Yes.
June. And Janelle's June.
Yep. I'm younger.
Well, if you're May, that would mean you're older.
No, she was born the year before me.
Oh, the year before, correct. Okay. And now it's September, so why are you here celebrating your May and June birthdays in the month of September?
Because this is the first time we could get off together at the same time, along with our daughters and my other sister.
So you have a group of 6?
Yes, we do.
Okay. I thought Gemini meant that you were born within a 365-day span. You were saying it's the month and it's your sign and your horoscope. Okay, so Gemini twins, enjoy the game tonight, and a big circle from Bert and $100 worth of scratch-off tickets to split 6 ways.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Great.
Happy birthday. You're both here by circle.
3-1. And now 3-2. I'm a Pisces. I'm a Pisces. What are you?
I'm an Aries.
What's that mean?
That means that I can't say it. This is a family show.
Okay, 3-2.
Means you're stubborn.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Chopped up the line, foul. Did you ever, at any point in your life, follow and live your life by your horoscope?
No. No. How about yourself?
No. Perhaps I should have.
Yeah, really. Maybe that was our mistake.
3-2, another 3-ball count, and there is ball 4. I don't think Gibson's too pleased with Toby Basner's strike zone. Let's take a look at it on Fox Tracks. I believe Fox Tracks more than I believe Toby Basner.
You know, Jack Morris kind of talked about Gibson a little bit. You know, that ball up, maybe had a little bit of it. Even Jack, and I agree with Jack, Kyle sometimes tries to pitch to the corners rather than the third of the plate. Of course, you want to stay away from the middle, but you know, he's got too good of stuff to be trying to nitpick in here or there.
Well, 3 of the last 9 batters, including a leadoff man on the 4th that scored. Now a leadoff man on the 5th. 1 strike to Seth Smith.
For Gibson, that's his 53rd walk in 140 innings pitched.
One strike to Smith. And now that one hit the corner, 0-2. Mariners leading behind two out bloop singles. One scoring a run in the 3rd, another in the 4th, each with 2 outs in the inning. 2 strikes to Smith. Very high.
Kyle's had 21 double plays turned behind him this year. This is his 24th start. Again, this is where you have to trust that sinker down and away to get a ground ball out. And maybe turn 2.
One and 2. And now 2-2.
Way too many pitches. 83 pitches, only 46 strikes. That's 55%. And what that does to your defense too, when you slow everything down, and has your defense on their heels.
Rolled to second.
There we go. Turn it.
They get 1, and that's all they'll get. 1 down, and Smith now reaching on a fielder's choice. He's at first for Cano.
Well, this is a pitch I think I'm talking about with Kyle Gibson. Looked like a pitch down and away. Smith See where the pitch is. Smith, hitting it into the ground. And because of the shift right there and Smith's speed, stays out of the double play, but he got the ground ball out.
Now Cano, who dumped a single to right field in front of Schaefer, didn't hit the ball hard, but with 2 outs, he dropped it into the outfield grass to score a Okie for the first run of the game. CarSoup.com trivia question. The American League record for RBI in a season by a second baseman, Soriano.
How about Brett Boone?
Ooh, there's another good one. Brett Boone, 141. That's a lot of runs batted in.
That is a lot.
That's to left. And that'll drop in front of Grossman. And Sano has a single to right, now a single to left. First and second, one down.
He's got such a sweet swing. This guy's a .307 career hitter coming into this year. And the pitch away. Didn't try to pull it. You can see the sink, but it left up about thigh high. And Cano just slaps it in the left field.
And now Nelson Cruz. Cruz with a ground ball to third, and he almost hit a 3-run home run, and would have if not for Byron Buxton, who made his catch at the top of the wall in center field in the 3rd inning. Swing and a miss.
Cruz with all that power, he will strike out about once every 4 at-bats. 149 times he has struck out in 553 at-bats.
Half swing, ball 1, 1-1. Now the 90th pitch of the night for Kyle Gibson. A 2-1 count to Nelson Cruz.
Cruz first came to the big leagues with the Brewers back in 2005, then went over to the Texas Rangers where he spent 7 seasons. Orioles, now in his 2nd season with the Mariners.
Dribbled in front of the plate, and Gibson will make the play himself. Everybody moves up, and now Gibson really needs to bear down with 2 outs because there are 2 men in scoring position.
You keep the ball down, sometimes good things happen. Right here, look at the pitch where it is. It's fastball down, Cruz right off the end of the bat. Ball has a lot of spin on it, but Gibson going over there, barehanding it, flipping the ball to Vargas for the 2nd out.
Gibson's only given up 5 hits. They've all been singles, but 3 of them have come on fastballs left up that have just been muscled into the outfield grass. 2nd and 3rd, 2 down, and a first pitch strike to Kyle Seager. Leadoff walk in the 4th and a run score. One and one.
Gibson making his 24th start. He has only 8 quality starts this year. Someone that was the pitcher of the year for the Twins last year.
Everything was trending in the right direction for Gibson in his career until this year.
Yeah, last year he had 17 quality starts in 32 starts. In 2014, his first full season, about 50-50, 15 quality starts in 31 starts, but not this year.
Now 3-1 with Lind on deck. There is a base open.
Just too much nitpicking. Not being aggressive.
And now a dangerous pitch to a dangerous hitter. And he took a changeup low. The bases now are loaded with 2 down.
Second time he walked Seager. 4th walk in a ball game.
Suzuki and Gibson chat.
Change up right there.
Gibson has thought a number of these pitches could be called strikes, and I think he's right. As important as the Seager plate appearance is, now an even bigger one here. Bases loaded, no margin for error. 2 away. Lind singled in the second, got a fastball up and lobbed one into center field, and then struck out swinging in the 4th. Ryan O'Rourke getting
on 3 pitches. Yep, on 3 pitches, and that's what Kyle needs here. His only strikeout.
Side ball 1.
And that coming last inning, got ahead in the count and then struck him out on the slider down and in.
And now a strike, 1-1. Hard and foul, 1-2. And this is what I think Jack's talked about. You talked about it a moment ago. All right, you're ahead of the hitter. Go after him rather than play around and end up with a 3-2 count.
I use the word nibble. Yeah. One thing Kyle has done, he's had a tough time winning here at Target Field this year. He's 1-7 with a 5.32 ERA and 12 starts. This is his 13th start at home. Has only 1 win here. Pretty good numbers for Lind with bases loaded.
1-2. Check swing. He went. Called by home plate umpire Toby Basner, and the inning ends. The Mariners don't score. Gibson strands 3, and it's still 2-0. Mountain Dew fans of the game enjoying the new twin stocking caps that were presented to the first 10,000 fans here tonight. Don't really need it yet. We got a pretty moderate night here. Temperature, what do you think it is? 70, 71?
Yeah,
like
upper 60s, I'd say.
Well, the Twins haven't done much against James Paxton. A couple of infield hits. Kurt Suzuki will lead off the fifth, and Eduardo Escobar and Logan Schaefer. Sharply hit, but on the ground to Sano. Second hop comes up to him, one away.
Well, you see the difference between Paxton and Gibson. Paxton now has 52 pitches here with one out in the fifth inning. And Gibson, after 5 innings, 99 pitches. This guy's fun to play behind, I'm sure, because he's attacking the strike zone. 10 out of 15 first pitch strikes, and 9 of the 10 first pitch strikes with the fastball.
And it does wear on your fielders. You were talking about that an inning or so ago about all the 3-ball counts and all that. Remember Torrey Hunter in his first stint with the Twins. We had a pitcher here who was a decent enough pitcher. He'll remain nameless because Torrey said he would start every at bat figuring out how he, the pitcher, was going to get the hitter out on 3 and 2. and you know, and he was good enough pitcher to do that. But you know, if you're going to get somebody out 3 and 2, why not try to get him out in the first couple pitches? 2 strikes, and now in the dirt, 1 and 2.
I know you're out there not trying to, you know, give up hits or whatever, but there's aggressiveness that you have to maintain out there because of the guys behind you.
Zipped inside 2 and 2.
Paxton's getting the ball back, fastball in. He's getting right back on that pitching rubber, looking for the sign. Your defense doesn't have a lot of time to think. Okay, here comes the ball again. Now they're more on their toes than their heels.
And Escobar strikes out, 2 down.
And strikeout number 6 for Paxton.
Paxton, for 1 year, was a college teammate of former Twin Alex Meyer at the University of Kentucky. And Paxton, pretty good, big guy himself, but Meyer, of course, 6'9". And they had a pretty good, for that 1 year, pretty good righty-lefty combination.
Well, Paxton at one time was the #1 pick by the Toronto Blue Jays, and he ended up not signing. And then kind of changed his mind, went back to Tennessee, but because of the Kentucky, but because of the violation, the NCAA said he was not eligible, so he ended up pitching in independent ball, and then the Seattle Mariners signed him.
There's a chopper over the head of Seager, and Schaefer is aboard. Not an infield hit, but a chopper that took 1 hop over Seager's head and into left field.
Yeah, we usually say it's a high chopper over the mound, and this one's a high chopper over the third baseman. So kind of a slap type hit. See Seager taking the bunt away. Ball ends up in left field.
And now Buxton, who got an infield hit for the first Twins hit, his first time up. Over the inside corner. Talked about this. Oh, I forget, first game, second game yesterday. It's all kind of a blur, isn't it? But Buxton hitting under 200 against left-handed pitching, and that's a bit odd, and I'm sure that'll change. 0-2.
And I said sometimes it's who that left-hander is.
Right.
You know. Paxton's dealing tonight. 6 strikeouts, no walks. He's given up only 3 hits, and the hit right there by Schaefer, the first hit that actually left the infield.
Breaking ball, a swing and a miss. Buxton tagged, and the Twins get another 2-out single, but they're getting them one at a time, and they've been shut out through 5 innings. postseason heats up on Fox when Chris Bryant and the Cubs clash with the wild card contender, the Cardinals, tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. on Fox, or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. I had somebody ask me today, innocently enough, whether I would be watching the postseason or whether over the course of the season I had had enough baseball. And it's an honest question, but my goodness.
I don't think you can ever have enough baseball. At least that's
the season really gets started. Ryan O'Rourke entering the game for the 22nd time.
Yeah, last time Ryan O'Rourke was on the mound, it was in New York on Saturday against the Mets. Faced only one batter, and that was Granderson that hit the home run, the game-winning home run in the 12th inning. And he hit a pretty good curveball. First hit off of O'Rourke by a left-handed hitter this year.
Leonys Martin will lead things off. Bunted in the air to the screen, 1 strike. Bottom third of the Seattle lineup: Martin, Zunino, and Marte. Dodger Stadium tonight, they're having a special pregame ceremony in honor of Vin Scully, who is retiring after, incredibly, 67 years of continuous service broadcasting Dodgers games going back to their days in Brooklyn.
So many of us, and I'm included in that, grew up listening to him call Dodger games.
Swing and a miss. 1-2. Another guy who was the gold standard for broadcasters, in my opinion, Dick Enberg, retiring too, finishing his career as a baseball broadcaster for the Padres. Remember when we were in Cleveland a couple of years ago and Kevin Costner was in town to promote the football movie? Was it Training Day?
Draft Day.
Draft Day. He was nice enough to join us for an inning, and I asked him about the movie For Love of the Game. Costner started it, directed it. And I asked him specifically about Vin Scully, because Vin was the play-by-play announcer in the fictional perfect game that was pitched in the game. Here's a pop-up right side of the infield, and Vargas takes it, makes the catch. And I remember Costner telling us the story and our viewing audience the story about Scully and how they were prepared to shoot the scenes all afternoon long. And he nailed it all on 1 take. And he said, as a director, I felt I had to, you know, I wasn't doing my job by saying, oh, no, that's good, let's move on next. But he zipped through everything on 1 take.
A true professional throughout his career.
1 down on the 6th. Here's Mike Zunino. In the dirt, 2-0. Zunino drove in a run with a soft line drive. Ball actually landed in Byron Buxton's glove after a long run, but the ball, or the glove, was on the ground, and the ball landed in the glove and bounced out. And the Mariners had their 2nd run after the leadoff walk in the 4th. Buxton has a more routine play, going back about 10 steps. Out number 2. That'll bring up Marte. 2017 season tickets are on sale right now. You can choose from the full season, partial season, or the flex plan. All season ticket packages include membership in Sweet Spot, the Twins season ticket benefits and rewards program. You can go to twinsbaseball.com or call 612-375-7454. Down and away a ball. Marte 0 for 2, comebacker to the mound, and a line drive to Schaefer at right.
Now Marte out of the Dominican Republic, just 22 years old, signed by Seattle in 2010. Came up a bit last year.
2-1. And now 3-1. Gibson taken out, I'm sure, because although he hadn't thrown 100 pitches yet, he probably, the way things were going, would have thrown quite a bit over 100 to complete the inning. And rather than do that, got a fresh arm out there, let him, O'Rourke, pitch in the 6th, and he does so successfully as the Mariners go down 1-2-3.
That's amazing. I mean, be able to hit 40 homers, especially at this day in baseball, when everyone throws sinkers, quarters, sliders, all kind of pitch. I mean, and he's a guy that I always, like, I love to watch. I love to watch him play. He plays hard, always play with passion, and something that, you know, I'm looking forward today to see him play.
And when I asked Brian Dozier about Robinson Cano, Dozier said that, you know, guys can have a great season, but the way you separate yourself and the way that Cano has separated himself is that he's been great year after year after year. You know what you're going to get from him. He's had it figured out for a while. Dozier pointed out the home runs, the extra base hits, the way Cano scores runs. He's got his average up there. Just really mutual respect between these two second basemen, Dick and Bert, who are power hitting second basemen.
Something you never used to see, but two of the best in the game. And in this game tonight, as we thank Marty Gellner for her contribution, Robinson Cano has driven in a run with a soft single, and Brian Dozier has gone 0 for 2 so far. Center field, hanging in the air for either Smith or Martin, and it's Martin rather, making the catch.
You know, we sometimes up here we have a great angle of foul balls that come into the crowd, and there was a ball that deflected near the press box that this gentleman had a beer or something, and the ball landed right in the beer and knocked it out of his hand. Now he's still standing there with an empty cup.
Just so I understand, you can laugh about somebody else's spilled beer, but you'd be crying if you had spilled your own. Jorge Polanco.
And I will continue to laugh.
One and 0 to the Twins shortstop. And now a strike.
Paxton maintaining that velocity. The last pitch at 96. We've seen him at 97.
Mentioned in his last start, 5 perfect innings against the Astros, and then they started to have some better success against him.
Yeah, he ended up losing that ball game 2-1. He worked 7 innings, gave up the 2 runs in the 6th inning. Had 7 strikeouts in that ball game.
Not like he got rocked or anything like that.
Hit well.
Polanco swings at a breaking pitch in the dirt. Another swing and a miss, strikeout, 2 down.
You know, yesterday when Verlander in game 2 started that ball game and their bullpen, Twins struck out 17 times. And here, this is the 8th time here tonight that the Twins have struck out against Paxton.
Grossman 0 for 2, a fly to center and a strikeout. And that floats low.
Paxton season high 10 strikeouts. That came in his 2nd start in June. And he got called up June 1st. 10 strikeouts against the Indians in Seattle.
2-0. Where Gibson almost alternately had 3-ball counts throughout his 5 innings. Paxton hasn't had one yet.
Nope.
Which is why he's only thrown 70 pitches. Deep to left. Hooking. Foul off the limestone in foul territory. Got the sense that Robbie was going to hit that ball hard. So much more aggressive hitter from the right side of the plate.
Paxton hasn't made too many mistakes, but you can see that ball coming right back. Belt high, inner half, and Grossman opened up quickly, but it just took foul.
Saw Robbie do it in the first Tiger game? Is that what it was? And it didn't hook. It stayed fair and went for a home run. I guess it was in the Mets series that I'm thinking of. Now 2-2.
He's shown power from both sides of the plate. 6 as a right-handed hitter, 5 as a left-handed hitter.
Second hop comes up for Seager. Across the diamond, a 1-2-3-6. Twins having a tough time with left-hander James Paxton tonight. Low-scoring game. Here's the Grand Casino story of the game.
Well, the only run scored by the Mariners, that in the 3rd inning. There's an RBI single by Robinson Cano. And then in the 4th inning, after the leadoff walk to Seager, RBI single by
Zunino.
Zunino gets the RBI.
And Ryan O'Rourke had a 1-2-3-6. They'll face Aoki, Smith, and Cano in the 7th. Activity in the Twins bullpen behind him. You know, it's there's some symmetry, I guess, to it, but it sure is frustrating to watch. Twins are losing games now the way they did in the first month of the season. Pitching has been better. The scores have been lower scoring for the most part, but now the Twins are really struggling to hit and score runs as they did in April. Did he offer? Apparently no. 1-1. Pinch hitter with the left-hander O'Rourke on the mound. It is Heredia. And now down and away, 2-1.
Heredia in his rookie season. A couple stints with the Mariners this year.
Guillermo Heredia. And O'Rourke has a 3-1 count.
Heredia from Cuba, signed by the Mariners on March 1st of this year.
And a walk puts him aboard. And that'll bring up Seth Smith. Mentioned before, all the Mariner left-handers were in the lineup because Gibson struggled against lefties, but now the Mariners using their bench. This will be Gutierrez hitting.
Franklin Gutierrez.
MLB.TV Premium, the _1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. You can watch every out-of-market game live in HD and over 400 supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. No swing on the check swing, and now ball one to Gutierrez.
Gutierrez, a veteran in his 7th season with the Mariners. First came to the big leagues with the Indians.
Become much more of a power hitter. He's gotten bigger and stronger. 14 home runs, and 2 of them against the Twins in Seattle in May. And now O'Rourke having a tough time throwing strikes here in the 7th inning. Snap bat. Everybody get out of the way, and that'll land in fair territory. Heredia flying to third base, and Grossman's throw coming into second. Again, a pitch up, shattering the bat of Gutierrez. Another soft single, but a really damaging one, because now the Mariners have runners at first and third, nobody out.
Yeah, it looked like they tried to go inside. Gutierrez opening up, and you can see the barrel of the bat flying all the way to short, as Escobar has to get out of the way. Ball dumping down that left field line. Gutierrez gets the pinch hit base hit and comes out of the ball game.
Gamble running, and JT Chargois getting loose along with Buddy Bouchiers.
Ben Gamble running for Gutierrez.
Well, they go ahead and pinch hit for Cano. Ball one. Singles his last 2 times up, including the RBI single that broke the ice in the 3rd inning. Two and 0. O'Rourke left in to try to get Cano. He'll be lifted when Cruz steps to the plate. He's in the on deck circle now. And Cano waves at an off speed pitch and fouls it back. 2-1.
Yeah, high slider right there.
Two and one off the end of the bat, and they have to chase it because sometimes those spin back into fair territory. Brian Dozier did that a few years ago as a right-handed batter. There was one in the minor leagues a week or 2 ago. I don't know if you saw it. Ball at one point had to be 15 feet foul and had that spin on it, and it snaked back into fair territory.
A nice souvenir for the young lady.
Baseball with a big slice taken out of the horsehide.
Got to give that back to O'Rourke.
2-2 to Cano. Twins haven't had a runner in scoring position yet. Cano fouls another one. You talk from time to time about pitching with baseballs that were scuffed or cut or whatever. Bet you never had to pitch with one that was lopsided. I did that town team ball once. And it was just a coincidence that I was the pitcher and the ball was lopsided.
Well, sometimes when I was on the mound and somebody hit a home run, the ball was lopsided, whoever caught it.
2-2. O'Rourke trying to keep this a 2-0 ball game. Dozier knocks it down, and everyone will be safe. They might have been able to get a double play, but in trying to backhand the ball bounced out, and it's 3-0 Seattle.
That's a tough break because it looked like Brian Dozier had a chance to catch this in the air, and it might have been a double play. But watch Cano just reach out on that slider and kind of in and out of the glove of Brian. That ball did not hit the ground before it hit the glove of Brian. You see it was in, and then it bounced out.
Twins not faring too well after walking the leadoff man. O'Rourke did it, and now he'll leave.
JT Chagua comes in to pitch for the Twins. He hit 99 on the gun last night in the game against Detroit. And I spoke with JT today, and he said he thinks it's because he had 4 days off that he was able to hit that 99 as opposed to be pitching every day or every other day. He said just not having to go out there and getting 4 days without being called on made a huge difference. He also said he never hit 100 before on the gun in the big leagues, but he did hit 102 last year playing with Rochester in Chattanooga during a game in July. And Paul Molitor, by the way, also said that JT Chagua has really found a way to challenge hitters early, that's something he's relied on, and that last night Chagua's fastball was as live as we have seen it so far this season.
Yeah, thank you, Marty. Yeah, over his last 9 appearances, covering 9 innings, 8 strikeouts, only 2 hits and 2 walks. No runs allowed.
Nelson Cruz drives the first pitch, knuckled it through the gap in left center field. Gutierrez scoring, Cano being waved around, he'll score. And Chagua delivered a strike, and Cruz was waiting for it, and you could see the ball wobble. That's how cleanly he hit it, wobble to left center.
But again, look at the location, thigh high. And Cruz probably, got the scouting report. First at bat, he's seen Chagua warm up. He likes that fastball. He sat on it and drives in 2 runs, and it's a 5-0 lead as Cruz knocks in his 93rd and 94th run.
It's already been a big inning for the Mariners. Still nobody out. The third Twins pitcher. Ball game, driving in 2 runs. Nelson Cruz pushing the lead out to 5-0.
You are cardboard.
And the third pitcher of the inning, Buddy Boshears, comes in for the 34th time.
Yeah, Buddy worked in game 1 of yesterday's 9-2 loss to the Tigers. He worked 2/3 of the inning, gave up a hit, a run. It was unearned with a walk and a strikeout through 15 pitches, 9 for strikes. Boshears has done a good job out of that bullpen as of late.
You look at the opponent batting average and you think, okay, it's something to work with. 248 is a pretty good opponent batting average.
And we see Buddy basically straight over the top fastballs, got some movement on it, and that hard breaking ball.
Seager is 0 for 1 with 2 walks. 3 times tonight, the Twins pitcher at the time, twice it was Gibson, and tonight in the 7th inning it was O'Rourke, walked the leadoff man, and they've gotten away with it only once. Gibson in the 5th left the bases full.
Well, I'm going to go back to Gibson only because, you know what, we see this night after night where the starter can't go deep enough into the ball game. Gibson needed 99 pitches to get through 5 innings. A sinker slider type pitcher. And that just puts more pressure on the bullpen.
That'll slice into the gap and drive in another run. Seager sends one to the wall. And the inning here in the 7th has gone walk, single, single, double, double.
Seager getting his 35th double of the year. Pitch up, just lined it the other way, picks up an RBI, his 96th of the year. Not a lot of movement on that fastball. Seager hitting it sharply out in left center. Buxton's quick, but not that quick.
Adam Lind will hit a single and 2 strikeouts. Ball 1. Orioles tied the Diamondbacks. They're 2-2 in the 11th now. Tigers won 8-3. Cleveland trimmed its magic number again. It's a 10-4 win over the White Sox. And the Blue Jays beat the Yankees 9-0.
Yeah, that was Francisco Liriano pitching for the Blue Jays.
Houston's leading the Angels 6-4, bottom of the 8th. So it might very well be that if the Mariners win here tonight, they'll only be able to tread water because everybody ahead of them has won or is winning, with the exception of the Orioles. It's 2-2, bottom of the 11th.
Now Texas is in Oakland. Now that ball game, I believe if Texas wins that game,
they clinch.
They clinch.
Yep.
As well as the Washington Nationals too.
It will be, whenever it happens, the 5th time in the last 7 years that the Rangers have been in the playoff field. Fouled into the seats. Rangers also want to finish with the league's best record to secure home field advantage through the World Series, because the American League won the All-Star game, so the American League team will have the home field advantage. Chopped foul, but in the 2 preceding playoff series that the Rangers would have as a division champion, they would like to play those games in Arlington, Texas. Lind battling Boshears, who's thrown 7 pitches. And Boshears has seen 4 of those pitches fouled after the 2nd strike. Another foul ball. And while the Mariners have started banging out hits 4 in a row here in the 7th inning, the Twins just have their 3 hits. 2 of them infield hits. Down and in, 2-2. Twins carrying an 11-man bullpen right now with Dean starting and pitching well yesterday in the first game. He may get another start in the season's final week. Wicked pitch by Bouchers and an incredible block by Suzuki.
Yeah, that breaking ball I think landed in front of home plate. So ricocheted off the chest protector, I believe, of Kurt Suzuki. Watch this pitch right here. Watch what he does.
Put a shoulder into it. Full count now. Still nobody out in the 7th inning.
One of those crooked numbers. 4 put on so far by the Mariners.
It's a heck of a plate appearance by the veteran Adam Lind. Fell behind, kept fouling off pitches, and ends up at first with a walk, second walk of the inning. Well, here's the schedule for the Mariners. 2 more games here in Minnesota, and then they go to Houston for 3. And again, that's where they need to make their move on the Astros. If they win that series, they very likely will be ahead of the Astros in the wild card standings, and then 4 at home with Oakland. Martin the batter, and Bouchers misses, ball 1. This is the wild card standing. The Blue Jays with a 1-game lead over Detroit, and then the Tigers with a 1-game lead over Baltimore, still playing, threatening in the bottom of the 11th to win their game. 1-1.
Yeah, and the season series between Seattle and the Houston Astros. The Houston Astros actually lead that series 6-10. Excuse me, 10-6. Astros have won 10. Seattle has won only 6 of the 16.
Tigers crossed an important threshold last night with their doubleheader sweep over the Twins, because now they control their own destiny. Swing and a miss. 1-2, and that's a considerable difference to where the Mariners are. Mariners can win out and still not get in because of the teams ahead of them. The Tigers have gotten to the point now where if they keep winning, there isn't anything anybody can do. They're in, and they won tonight handily, 8-3 over the Royals. 2-2. Michael Fulmer pitched well for the Tigers. He may have secured the Rookie of the Year award with a good outing tonight. Twins have already used 3 pitchers this inning. There still isn't anybody out. Tommy Malone might be next. And a foul tip that spun Suzuki around, I think, or did that get the home plate umpire?
They've got Toby Bassler right there. Ooh, off the neck area.
A little wing section of the bars on the mask. 2-2. Bouchers having a hard time getting a swing and miss. He couldn't get one from Lynn, ended up walking him.
Well, Bouchers coming into this outing 33 innings with 34 strikeouts, only 6 walks. They walked Lynn on about 10 pitches.
There's a swing and a miss on the first out of the inning. And Zunino will bat next.
Oh, good fastball right here. Martin swinging through it.
Zunino with an RBI single, an infield pop-up, an outfield fly.
Told it took 33 pitches to get one out.
Sadly, I don't believe that's a record this year. 1-0 now to Zunino.
Well, Rourke started the inning. Jaguar came in. Now Boshiers.
To left field. And Grossman has the ball go by him. And a run will score. Lynn to third. They're going to wave him around. Grossman has more trouble with it. And all the way to third base goes Zunino. 2 more runs have scored. And it's 7-0. There might be 2 errors on that play.
Yeah, he not only boxed that up as far as the ball playing that short hop, he also, when he went to retrieve it, watched the ball come up on him right there. Hits his glove. Thought he had it. Now he goes gets it. But then when he goes gets it, he kicks it. And the ball gets away yet.
And Buddy Boshiers will leave, and we'll have the 4th pitcher this inning. We'll see what the scoring is. 2 errors charged to Grossman in left field, and still only 1 out in the inning.
With an 8-0 lead now in this copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Any accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins LLC. Tommy Malone, the 4th pitcher used this inning, making his 6th relief appearance and his 18th appearance overall. He last worked on the 20th against the Tigers here. 1 shutout inning in the Twins' 8-1 win last Tuesday.
9th man at bat will be Ketel Marte. He is 0 for 3. Encouraging the notion that he might make an out. Runner at third, 1 down. Swing and a miss. So on the Zunino play, an RBI single, an error on Grossman allowing him to go to second, and then an error on Grossman again allowing him to go to third. The record for errors on a play held by the guy we used to work with, Tommy John.
Yep. I have seen that.
As I recall, Tommy told the story with the proper amount of humor. He juggled a ground ball, a comebacker, and then threw wildly to first. Errors 1 and 2, and then somehow the ball ended up back in his hand again, and he threw to home plate and threw it to the backstop. And right there on that one play, there went his Gold Glove chance right there. 2 and 2. You can't overcome that.
And you can't make that stuff up either.
2 and 2 to Marte. 2 and 3.
And a good changeup right there gets the second out via the strikeout again. Tommy Milone gets the second out on that circle changeup. And a good block by Suzuki.
10th man to bat. Heredia, he started this inning with a walk, facing Ryan O'Rourke. Then the inning has gone single, single, double, double, walk. And later there was a single and 2 errors on the same play. One strike to Heredia. Inside, 1-1.
Yeah, this inning a lot like the game against the Tigers on Thursday.
The 9th inning. It was a 3-2 ball game at the time.
Right, where they scored 6 runs.
Foul back. Saw Paul Molitor, and of course Paul was one of the smartest ball players I've ever seen. The fact of the matter is he needs better players. It's how you get them, of course, is the complex part. But this has been very trying for him to have played the game for as long as he's played so excellently and intelligently. And watching way too many innings like this.
Yeah, the 2 errors by Grossman, now 120 errors by this ball club.
Two and 2 to Heredia. And Malone comes in and mercifully puts an end to the 7th inning. A 7th inning that saw the Mariners score 6 times.
Back time now for greater coverage of baseball presented by T-Mobile. With a look around the majors, Jakey Arrieta. My goodness, those Cubs, they are on a mission. Jakey Arrieta helps the Cubs win their 98th game. Jose Ramirez, this guy goes under the radar in Cleveland. He had a very good game against the White Sox. And Victor Martinez, who just left here, hit that big 3-run home run. 2 for 2 with a home run, his 26th. As the Tigers won their 5th straight.
Guillermo Heredia taking over in left field. And Gamble taking over in right field. And Miguel Sano at the plate. 1 for 2, an infield hit and a strikeout, and there's ball 1. Twins with 3 singles.
You know what Paxton's been able to do? Work quickly, have some quick outs. His pitch count right now, what, 75, 76, 75 pitches.
Fouled back.
I mean, he's going about the business his right way. 10 pitches in the first, 11 in the second, then 17, 12, 12, and 11. So some quick outs, no walks, 8 strikeouts.
Down and in. You know, and we're impressed with Paxton and what he's done here tonight, and this is from someone who hasn't seen the Twins pitch many games like this over the last 6 years. With a towering fly ball to right, and back is Gamble, and he didn't make the catch. It might have hit the limestone, and Sano digs for third. A long off-target throw, and Miguel Sano going deep to right field. And I don't know whether that ball hit the glove of Gamble or not, or whether it hit the overhang.
Well, that overhang comes out about 10 feet right there, and Gamble went back there. He may have lost the flight of the ball because he's underneath that limestone. That was so high.
Yeah.
That Gamble going back, you can see the corner of that limestone, and he leaped right there. I just didn't think he got back to the wall quick enough, because when he leaped, he just missed that ball. Did not hit the limestone.
It is a triple, and Vargas takes inside a ball. That's a tough break for Paxton. He's got a shutout going here, and that ball should have been caught. Sano will get credit for a triple, and leading 8-0. The Mariners have the infield back. Off the glove and into left center field, and the Twins get a run. They're on the board. It's 8-1.
Well, Vargas picking up an RBI, his 17th of the year. As Sano scores the first run for the Twins.
I don't know if pitchers will ever be able to react or not react because of the increased shifting. That ball, as you could see, would have been hit right to Cano. But your natural reaction as a pitcher, I'm sure, is to try to make the play. It's hit right back at you.
Try to catch everything you can.
Here's Suzuki. And there's strike 1. The Twins get on the board. But after the Mariners blow it open with 6 runs in the top of this inning, that run would have looked a whole lot larger had it been a 2-0 ball game. But if pigs could fly, we'd all be eating less bacon. And Suzuki grounds into a double play, 2 down. Base is empty, and now Eduardo Escobar. Escobar 0 for 2. He's really been waiting all year long for Escobar to provide a spark with his bat, and it's just been an off year for him.
Hitting only .216 coming into the ball game as a right-handed hitter.
And on 3 pitches, Paxton recovers after the triple in right field by Sano, and the Twins are on the board. It's 8-1.
LaPanta in Mall of America studio with this update. It's a flashback tonight. On this date in 2007, Torrey Hunter took his last at bat in the Metrodome as a Twin. It was less than dramatic as he was intentionally walked in a 7-1 Twins win over the White Sox. Hunter, of course, returned to the Twins and retired a Twin in 2015.
Torrey brought off the field after taking his position in center field, kind of a ceremonial thing Ron Gardenhire wanted to do, never knowing, of course, that Torrey would play as long as he did and that he would eventually come full circle and come back to the Twins 8 years later. 5 years with the Angels, 2 with the Tigers. Ball looped to left field, and Grossman is there for the catch. One away here quickly in the 8th inning.
Well, Tommy Milone finally got the Twins out of the last inning with a couple strikeouts. Gets the first out on the fly ball out.
Cano with 3 hits, all singles.
He's driven in a couple runs now with 92 RBIs on the year.
Working over the back line of the batter's box there. Fox Tracks presented by Carrier. And a strike on the outside corner. Now 1-1.
Tommy Milone made 12 starts for the Twins and put on a disabled list back on the 12th of August, activated on the September 8th, making his 3rd appearance since that activation, and all 3 of them have been out of the bullpen. Good pitch right there.
2-1. Collectively, of course, it's been a disastrous season for the Twins. Individually, Cano lining one past Vargas into right field. He's aboard with his 4th single. Individually, it's been a very disappointing one for individuals like Tommy Milone. Nelson Cruz to the plate. It was a 1-0 ball game. The Mariners had 2 guys out on the 3rd, and then this.
Yeah, I mean, Cruz getting a Gibson pitch, uppercut swing, taking Buxton all the way to the wall, where Buxton leaped and made a great catch for the final out of the 3rd inning.
And now Cruz will bat. Teed off on the first pitch from JT Chagua and drilled a 2-run double in the 6-run 7th inning. Down low, 2-1.
Well, you look at the offense of the Mariners. Cano, Cruz, and Seager all have a chance to drive in over 100 runs this year.
Dan Altavilla warming up in the Seattle bullpen. Cruz tried to lift and separate, and a foul, 1-2. High and deep to center again. And that one is long gone off the facing of the limestone above the batter's eye.
Cruz with his 38th home run of the year. And 4 runs batted in tonight's ball game, now with 96 on the year.
9-1 the score.
Well, you just mentioned that uppercut swing that Cruz had, and it's on a breaking ball. Great extension. And he said, here, Byron Buxton, try to catch this. It hit off the limestone straightaway center.
Earlier this year, Byung-ho Park hit one into the catch area above the limestone. And then a few years ago, Jim Thome did it twice, once for the Twins, once against the Twins, before there was the restaurant area out there. Strike on the outside corner, 0-2. Lifted foul into the seats. Earlier I was talking about pitching in town team ball with lopsided baseballs.
Wow.
Nearly cleared the limestone.
Almost got into that catch area.
So if the concussion off the bat didn't make the baseball lopsided, traveling whatever it was 90 miles per hour into the limestone would probably flatten one side. 2 strikes. Chipped foul. And another game where guys in the other dugout are smiling and laughing.
And for Tommy Malone, his 15th home run allowed on the season.
Orioles beat the Diamondbacks 3-2. Took 12 innings, but they kept pace with everybody else in the wild card chase. Mark Trumbo with a walk-off home run, so he now has 2 home runs ahead of Brian Dozier in the home run race. And a called strike, 2 down.
And Malone picking up his 3rd strikeout. Let's take another look at Cruz's home run. Now this is a curveball. So how quick does he hit it out? 111 miles an hour, the hit speed.
But now by the time it hit the limestone, it had to decelerate to about 95, 96 miles per hour. Two in, 2 out, and now Adam Lind takes ball 1.
Lind 1 for 3 with a walk. He has struck out a couple times. Only 2 strikeouts that Kyle Gibson had, who worked the first 5 innings.
Fouled back. 1-2. Angels came back on the Astros. They're leading 7-6 in the top of the 9th inning. Would be a crippling loss for Houston. And down the middle of strike. Lind strikes out. Malone strikes out 2, but gives up 2 hits and 2 runs in the 8th.
Here at Target Field, leading 10-1 over the Twins as we start the bottom of the 8th inning. Coming up after the final out, though, we will bring you a recap in Twins Live presented by CenturyLink when we look at the big 6-run 7th inning for the Mariners, where they batted around and did most of the damage. Also look at an impressive game for Byron Buxton, showing off his athleticism by robbing Nelson Cruz of a 3-run home run, and Buxton later in the game beat out a ground ball to first base, showing off his speed there. So a nice all-around game for Buxton that we'll look at, and we will hear from manager Paul Molitor, all after the final out. Dick and Bert.
All right, thank you, Marty. Bottom of the 8th coming up, and it'll be Logan Schaefer, Byron Buxton, and Brian Dozier facing Dan Altavilla.
Yeah, and Altavilla making just his 11th relief appearance. He got called up on August 27th from Double-A, where he is a converted starter, turned him into a reliever.
And 96 miles per hour, but a miss, 1-0. Schaefer with a single in 2 trips. Schaefer hit a chopper right down into the dirt in front of home plate, and it bounded all the way over the head of Seager, third base. On the outside corner, 1-1. Hey, we should pass along birthday wishes to a guy who's done for the year, but Trevor May has turned 27 years of age today.
Happy birthday, Trevor.
Typically for active players, in lieu of a gift, we sing them happy birthday on the air.
I don't think Trevor wants that.
He's a musician. He appreciates good music.
Yeah, that's what I said. Got some defensive replacements. Mike Freeman now at second base. I believe there's a new third baseman. There's Mike Freeman at second.
Sean O'Malley at third. 3-1 to Schaefer. Buxton on deck. And a strike. On the ground. Freeman has it, and now Lind has it. 1 away. CenturyLink, what's next? Tyler Duffy, who's kind of basically skipped in the rotation once, will come back to the mound and face Ariel Miranda, another left-hander who's pitched well for the Mariners since they got him from the Orioles.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how what Duffy's going to do tomorrow. I know that Neil Allen took a little extra time with him to try to straighten him out.
Right.
Hopefully he did.
There's Buxton. He got an infield hit his first time up in the 3rd inning, but more importantly, I think, to Paul Molitor and Tom Bernansky, the fact that Buxton blistered a ground ball to the right side. Most of his hits have been to the pull side. Side again, and it's 2-0. And I think as they project Buxton forward, they can easily see him becoming a perennial all-star if he can put the ball in play to all fields. And we're starting to see in September what the excitement was all about in the minor leagues. Getting over 300, playing outstanding defense, and with, if not surprising, power, pleasing power, hooked over the head of Gene Glenn, and it's 2-1. Eight home runs. Buxton, of course, hasn't played the full year here, so projecting that over a full season, you're talking about 15-20 home runs a year. High chopper over the mound. Freeman flips on the run, gets Buxton by a half step, 2 down. And that'll get us to Brian Dozier.
Yeah, we've seen Seattle here. You know, they have that lead. They're bringing in a lot of different players. They're getting an opportunity to get some at bats, some defensive time. They have 9 players on their bench.
Two left-handed relievers and 10 right-handed relievers
out of their bullpen. Yeah,
and 9 bench players.
That's a full plane.
A full clubhouse, as you pointed out a couple of games ago. A full bullpen. You got to get there early to get a seat. 1 strike to Dozier. Breaking ball, strike 2.
Altavilla with a pretty good slider, hard slider right there. Good fastball, mid-90s. Young man, just 24 years old, signed by the Mariners in 2014, just a couple years ago, out of Mercyhurst College, Erie, Pennsylvania.
And on 3 pitches, Dozier strikes out. And Altavilla has a quick 1, 2, 3, 8 inning. Ten to 1, another game that has drifted away from the Twins late. The 6-run 7th took care of that. James Beresford in the game now to take over for Brian Dozier. I was talking with James before the game today, and I concluded, you know, the Australian guys got it pretty good coming over here to play with Andrew Albers getting ready to pitch. I mean, think about it. Everybody else pretty much gives up their summer to go play baseball in the United States, right? If you're from this hemisphere, you give up your summer. The Australian guys go back, and spring is just beginning. He's saying, yeah, the golf courses are greening up in Australia, and he'll enjoy summer at home after spending summer here. That sounds pretty good.
I believe that Australia is part of our 4 teams that will be playing in South Korea along with the Dutch team. I believe Australia is one of the teams. Rumors has it. I have not seen the schedule yet.
And you're going to be the pitching coach.
Yes, I am.
Again. And you will begin that
process probably in, I'm going to guess, the middle of February. We'll end up in Arizona, where we did 3+ years ago to get ready to go to Taiwan.
Because I think the first spring training game for the Twins, because of the WBC, is like February 20th, 22nd. What happens if we have a telecast? You're not going to be there?
We're going to have to do it through the FaceTime or
Yeah.
Skype or whatever that is. Yeah.
Well, I'd rather not do that. I want you in the ballpark.
Well, you're going to have to come to Arizona, and then you're going to have to go to South Korea with me.
No, I wouldn't mind that. That'd be fun. You're
I'm
staying at
looking
Byung
forward
Ho
to it.
Park's house, right?
We're going to raid his icebox if we do.
Martin, the batter. It's a 1-2 count from Andrew Albers.
You don't want a bunch of Dutchmen raiding somebody's icebox.
Two and two.
Albers making his 4th relief appearance. He made a couple starts. His last time on the mound, you have to go back to September 11th here against the Cleveland Indians. So it's been a while for him on that mound.
Beresford flips on the run, 1 down. And that'll bring up Mike Zunino. In case you're wondering why this game is taking as long as it is, my goodness, it's 10:31 and we're just starting the 9th inning. We had a rain delay of what, 35 minutes?
35, yeah. Started at 7:45.
Swing and a miss. The 14th rain delay or postponement at Target Field this year. There have been 4 more on the road. I wonder what the record is. I'm sure it's more than 18. But the record for weather interruptions for one team in one baseball season.
I don't know. I think maybe you should work on that tonight.
Archimedes Caminero. Looks like he's going to pitch to the Twins in the 9th. Three and one. Popped up. Might be playable. Schaefer with the catch on the warning track.
Yeah, Schaefer took a good route right there because he went to that short wall and then worked his way back in. So a nice running catch by Schaefer out in right field. Of course, you're watching the flight of the ball. You're wondering if it goes into those stands that come out right there, but Schaefer right there almost felt for the wall. He knew he was close, and then comes back, drifts back toward the field and makes a catch.
Marte is 0 for 4. And Albers gets ahead of him, strike 1. One and one.
Couple stints this year for Albers, 30 years old.
Two and one. Yikes, the Angels have jumped out in front of the Astros 10-6. Astros hitting bottom of the 9th right now. That'll be a terrible loss. The Astros, I think, led most of the way in that game.
Well, that'll help Seattle, though. They'll go in front of the Astros in a wild card race.
They would be in the 4th position. Of course, only the top 2 positions advance to postseason play. And that is a foul ball.
Seattle with a win here tonight. That'll be the 81st win for the Twins. If they lose, it'll be number 99. Ouch.
And over the head of Escobar. And a base hit for Marte.
Marte's still shaking his hands over at first base. He got jammed right there, but strong enough to hit it into left field over Escobar's head. Opened up quickly. And it's a base hit. Marte picking up his first hit. And the 13th for the Mariners.
That's fouled off of Suzuki's mask. Guillermo Heredia started the awful 7th inning with a leadoff walk from Ryan O'Rourke, and by the time he ended the inning with a strikeout, Mariners scored 6 times.
As I mentioned, Heredia signing from out of Cuba. He defected, signed by the Mariners in March. Sent to Double-A, then moved up to Triple-A. Hit 300 in the minor leagues. Now getting some major league at bats.
2-1. And a strike. That's lifted foul into the seats, and now this will be Alber's 25th pitch of the inning. Missed inside, a full count. And Heredia draws his second walk. First and second, 2 down.
The Mariners have taken 7 walks along with their 13 hits.
Gamble's second plate appearance. And a fly ball to left his first time up. 1 strike. And Suzuki in the 9th inning still trying to block pitches.
Gamble, 24 years old, traded on August 31st to the Mariners from the Yankees.
One and 2. Two and 2. 30 pitches for Albers here in the 9th inning.
Attendance tonight 22,683. Fan Appreciation Weekend.
Impacted by rain. We got started, as we said, about 35 minutes late. And it was a game until the 7th inning. Swing and a miss. Albers finally cleans up the 9th, doesn't allow any runs. It's 10-1 as we go to the bottom of the 9th. Your manager and his pennant hopes got the big lift when Tyler Duffy pitched so well in the second half of the year. I think Scott Service is starting to see the same type of things from James Paxton. A good outing from him tonight.
Yeah, he really did. You know what? He spent some time on a disabled when he got hit by a line drive, but his first win since that time. And he was outstanding tonight. He worked quick. He threw strikes, no walks, 5 strikeouts, gave up 5 hits.
And the Mariners leading comfortably, tried to beat the Twins for the first time this year. Twins went out to Seattle and swept the Mariners and took them out of first place in the West, a position they were never able to regain. And now Archimedes Caminero.
Caminero making his 55th relief appearance. And his 17th as a Mariner. He got traded over from the Pirates on August 6th.
Jorge Polanco's 0 for 3. He'll lead off the 9th, then Robbie Grossman and Miguel Sano. Polanco takes outside, ball 1. Twins with just 5 hits, 4 singles, and Sano's triple. A strike, 1-1.
98-mile-an-hour easy fastball. Caminero from Dominican Republic, signed by the Miami Marlins in 2005.
2-1. Sano tripled, Vargas singled in the 7th inning. That's the only Twins run so far. Up and away, now 3-1.
Control has been an issue for Caminero. 22 walks in 41 innings.
And he buzzes the outside corner. 3-2. Foul over the tarp, out of play. Let's hope the tarp just stays there for the rest of the year.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I wonder what the lifetime of a tarp is.
Well, in Southern California, it's probably a long time. Here in Minnesota,
I believe isn't it at Safeco Field where they have a tarp even though they have a retractable roof?
I'm sure.
It has been used a lot this year. And you don't see any duct tape on it or anything like that. So it must be in pretty good shape. And Polanco with another foul. Caminero now with 8 pitches thrown. This hit to left and hit fairly well. Ready it back 5 feet from the edge of the track, makes the catch, 1 away. So here's the updated wild card standings. Absent Seattle's imminent win, it looks like. The Astros gave up 6 runs in the 9th inning. Ken Giles, the loser, giving up 6 to the Angels in the 9th, and just a critical loss. I mean, can you imagine losing a game like that with 10 games left or whatever? Everybody else has won or is winning. The Orioles in extra innings won. 1 strike to Grossman. Well, I guess you can imagine that because you were on the other side when Twins had a 10-0 lead with Frank Viola on the mound in 1984, and the Twins lost the game. best baseball quotes of all time after that game. Gary Gaetti committed a costly throwing error in the 8th or 9th inning. And he says it's hard to throw the ball across to first base with both hands wrapped around your throat.
Yeah, but the Twins took care of business 3 years later.
Always saw that was such a, I can still see it. I can still see the error. And I thought there was some wonderful irony. Pop up left side, and O'Malley, the third baseman, staggers under it, but he makes the catch. Some wonderful irony that when you guys won it all in 1987, it was a ground ball not unlike the one Gary threw across wildly to Herbeck, and this one was right on target.
Yep.
Gaetti to Herbeck, and the Twins were world champions.
Oh, he took his hands off his throat.
2 down here in the 9th inning, and Miguel Sano will bat. He has a single and a triple.
He's had a good night here tonight. Scored the only run for the Twins. Vargas driving him in the 7th inning.
Down and away, ball 1.
Excuse me, ball boy.
It'll happen. It hasn't happened yet, but Sano hitting one absolutely flush at 97, 98 miles per hour. And it would make Nelson Cruz's exit velocity of 111 look like a changeup.
You always wonder that too. You know, somebody throwing as hard as say Nolan Ryan, and then you know the big power hitter like a Winfield, say, just connect with all the power where that ball would end up.
2-0. Inside 3-0. Vargas has a lot of power too. And Sano takes all the way. Let's see, the longest home run ever hit was Mickey Mantle against Pedro Ramos that left the ballpark 520 feet, something like that. And Sano will take a walk with 2 down in the 9th. Tony Oliva hit one out of the ballpark in the old Kansas City ballpark and gave me the newspaper clipping. It's on our back wall here to prove it.
Yeah, and he said the people that owned the house across the street wanted him to pay for the window that he broke.
Vargas with an RBI single. He chopped one. It deflected off the glove of Paxton and into left center field right after Sano hit triple. Pulled foul. 1-1. Big swing and a miss, 1-2.
Yeah, the changeup right there. Vargas way out front.
Vargas getting a chance to play maybe a little bit more because of Joe Mauer's injury situation, but it's as much you know, the other 3 players pulled foul. Danny Santana, Eddie Rosario, and Trevor Plouffe that have really put the Twins in a bind here in September, because the manager is trying to patch holes in the lineup on a daily, nightly basis that managers usually don't have to do in September. 1-2. Swing and a miss, another changeup, and that'll take care of it. The Mariners with authority beat the Twins 10-1. The losing streak now out to 7 games. Tom Hanneman, the Twins were close for a while, but then another big ugly inning took care of batters.
Dick, rain delayed tonight's start before Seattle poured it on the Twins. Up next on Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink, we'll talk about Seattle's 7th inning. Byron Buxton's athleticism on display again. We'll hear from Paul Molitor and preview Game 2 of this series tomorrow night.